We're only able to perceive reality through sight, our eyes, based on our interaction with light. When you're looking at an object, for you to be able to grasp what you see, light has to reflect that object's image to your eyes. So without light, there can't be sight. So when you look at something and light reflects it back in a manner that catches the attention of your retinas, you aren't actually seeing that object as it is in the present moment, but rather what it was when light reflected it. The retina is a light sensitive layer of tissue at the back of the eye that functions as a biological camera sensor, converting light rays, which is photons, into neural signals. It processes images and transmits this information via the optic nerve to the brain for visual perception. Its key roles include detecting light, color, and detail. When you look at the night sky with the various stars glimmering, we are actually looking at the past rather than what is actually occurring. If we were to have covered the distance between ourselves and the stars to experience its presence much more closer, because of the distance covered by light will be shorter compared to when you're looking at it from the earth. An analogy I will use to further buttress my point is with the example of an electric fan. When a fan blades are rotating, it moves so fast that when light reflects the image of the blades back to us, we perceive it as a blur compared to when it is just stationary and we can clearly distinguish between each blades. So what causes us to then perceive this motion of blurriness? Our ability to store and recall data or information in the form of memories. So the fan blades are rotating and light has reflected its initial position in the past. But in the blink of an eye, those blades has switched up from their initial positions. And so in our memories, we are recalling multiple instances of the object we perceive at once, which leads to a perception of continuation in our minds, motion, time, the measurement of change, the observation of change, which is conceived from memory. What does this mean? This means that as conscious beings, we are basically living in time. We are time. Experience is memory, and it is through memories that we individually form our personalities through what we experience in time and how we have reacted to them based on the sensory inputs of our five senses plus our mental faculties and emotions in processing information. Now, I've had some entanglements in regards to computer programming languages, in particular Python and JavaScript. So when you're writing a code, you can add some details to inform you about what you're writing in that script without necessarily needing it to be part of the coding operation. So you comment that part out to inform the computer that it isn't consequential and rather that particular line is for the programmer's eyes to read to better understand their code, not for the computer to take it as part of its operation. In Python, we use the hashtag symbol, and in JavaScript, is a double forward slash in place of the Python language's hashtag. So, what is the point of all that story? I want you to look at your memories as programming details. You're always having different information or inputs that is coming up during the day. Even when you sleep safe, depending on if you can recollect your dreams. But basically, it's not everything you need to react to. And that's why I've been like a big pusher of like meditating, because it kind of trains your mind in terms of this kind of endeavor. You understand? Because sometimes if you just sit down in a particular spot, you understand, if you have somewhere that you create that kind of a time, because meditation doesn't have to be at a particular hour or time. It can be when you're doing anything, mundane things, or you're working or stuff. But first, for you to kind of train your mind to understand what it means, you should first start by like maybe dedicating some time for it. Maybe early in the morning or late at night before you sleep. Early in the morning before you start your activities, and you're not necessarily pressing your phone or necessarily engaging in thought forms like thinking or stuff like that. You're just absorbing in information from your five senses. So you're not there's no story, or you're not engaging with the stories that is going on in your thinking mind. You understand? Rather, you're just observing the way a child would be observing, you understand, like the world or reality. Because how they usually used to say that children don't get stressed because of they don't have anything to think about. Exactly. That's the point. You don't want to think about shit. You just want to be in the moment and observing what is going on through your five senses, not being in your head. And that's the stuff like with meditation and stuff like that. So when you look at your memories as programming details, you want to comment out those happenings which aren't doing you any good in moving forward towards fruitful endeavors which are beneficial to you in the long term in your life. It's not necessarily as if the past information has disappeared, but rather you alter memory, your use of memory, focus, through your attention to make it inconsequential. So that little by little, when something reminds you of that happening, then you aren't necessarily constricted by that lived experience, but instead you can draw from the conscious disattachment from whatever occurrence that transpired through forgiveness. So let's go and claim ownership of your ability to heal and thereby transform, move on. I'm not what happened to me, I'm what I choose to become. Carl Young. You are more than your experiences. Let them inform you in knowing yourself better rather than ruling over your being.